Good morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to this meeting of the Board of Commissioners. Just a reminder to all those present that this meeting is a public forum. It's being recorded on both video and audio, and written minutes are being taken. Any comments will become part of the meeting record and available to the public at a later date. In this meeting, I'll ask that anyone that wishes to come forward to address the Board of Commissioners to come forward to the microphone and speak clearly into the microphone. When you speak from the seats, it doesn't pick up well and it doesn't record well, so we'll ask that if you do have words to say to come forward. When you do, state your name, your address, if you represent an organization, what that organization is, and for the record. First, the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you, John. I went right on by that and went into introductory, so let's honor our country and our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next, I have an unusual request. I think in my 6 years sitting as a commissioner, this is the first time this has come up. But there is a court going on upstairs, and the court is short 6 jurors. And we need 6 volunteers to serve on the jury. If you would be willing to volunteer, please raise your hand so we can see if we have the 6. If not, the court is authorized to appoint you as a juror. And we'll do that unless you would kindly volunteer. So again, I'll say, are there any volunteers? John, you? Okay, then he will act accordingly for the selection of jurors. We ask for volunteers, Felix.
Can he get employees?
How soon do you need your jurors? As soon as possible.
Well, could do. Check with the departments. First, check with the departments. I'm sure Paul.
Felix, can we check with our departments and see if there's are available personnel that could serve that need? Okay. It is kind of an emergency thing. Okay. Moving on then, do we have any commissioners with any recognition to provide?
I did, but the person we want to recognize is on vacation.
And that's occurred with a couple of mine in the past as well. But we're going to go ahead and recognize them anyway. Recognition to provide to dispatcher Tabitha Kohler for an incident that occurred on December the 23rd. It was an incident transferred by Union County to Umatilla County for a 67-year-old male who had been in an accident at Langdon Lake, which is in Union County, and had a femoral artery severed. And the dispatcher Kohler handled the situation, talked to someone about how to apply a tourniquet that was able to actually control the bleeding and save the man's life. So we're really proud of our dispatchers for their presence of mind, their ability to react under pressure, their ability to handle situations that involve technical expertise, like applying a tourniquet, like applying other first aid that someone on the spot needs to apply, but there's nobody there yet to apply, while the aid cars are on their way to provide service. It was, in fact, 31 minutes and 39 seconds in length that she remained engaged with the caller until help arrived, and the gentleman was transported, and his life was saved. by Dispatcher Tabitha Kohler. So we recognize and salute her for her efforts and what she did. Likewise, a commendation for Officer John Reitz. Reitz, yes, R-E-I, that's Reitz. And just a note from here that says, I wanted to take a moment and thank Officer Reitz for his hard work and compassion today. Not only did he respond quickly to our report that 2 dogs entered our yard. Now this is from one of our citizens. 2 dogs entered our yards and duck pen, killing our 3 pet ducks. But he took the time to track the dogs down on foot. Fortunately, there was snow. He followed the dogs to the owner's house, resolved the situation, made the owner of the ducks, particularly her children, feel a great deal better. So we congratulate him for his service and for doing what we really, the sheriff and all of us, want our law officers to do, and that's to be compassionate, to be responsive, and to be helpful. So thank all of them for their work. We really do honor them for it. Do we have any minutes from any previous meetings? Then we'll move on. Are there any additions to the agenda? No additions to the agenda. We have a time in our meeting when the public can address the commissioners on any subject. If it's not on the agenda, if it's on the agenda, we ask that you restrict it to a discussion at that time. Is there anyone here that has a subject not on the agenda that they wish to address the commissioners on? If there are none, we'll move to our first item of business. And our first item of business is a hearing in the matter of the petition received to declare McKinney Road a public road. The way we will do this is we'll open the hearing, at which time people who speak in favor can speak in favor. Those who wish to speak against will be called upon to speak against after that. And then comments will be received from any public agencies. Then if there's any rebuttal will be called for. And then we'll close the hearing and the commissioners will decide. This time then I'll declare that the hearing in the matter of the petition to declare McKinney Road a public road, the hearing is opened. Call for a staff report.
Matt Kenny, Umatilla County Public Works Department. So I just prepared a few very brief exhibits. They were actually prepared probably the summer of 2018 when this process started, but I'll go over them quickly so that everybody can kind of get a brief overview and history update on the process. So if you'd please scroll down to the very bottom, there's 2 exhibits at the bottom. So we'll start with this one. This just kind of is an overall outline of the right-of-way issue surrounding McKinney. So when we first got this petition, the first thing we wanted to dig into was, what's there? And so we found that, as you can see in the magenta, in the pink, there is this assumed 40-foot public right-of-way existing in this area. We haven't been able to find any records that show this right-of-way actually was dedicated. And so it's probably since the 1960s it's been shown as this 40-foot public right-of-way, once known as 4th Street Extension, now known as McKinney Avenue. Throughout the years, there's also been a few partition plats done in this area, as you can see in the blue. Those outline those areas of the road that have officially been dedicated via the plat process. So there's various widths. Some are 30 feet, some are 10 feet outside the existing assumed 20 feet. Others are 25 feet. On the north side, there's a 25-foot strip. And so you can kind of just see the issue that we have when we started analyzing this and doing the research. And when looking at the deed records, there are some deeds that reference a public right-of-way, even a 40-foot public right-of-way, but there's no actual document number given. Some even reference a county road right-of-way, which we can verify there never has been a county road there through our research. But so there's been a general consensus that there's been a road there, but we have no document backing that up. So I think it's the petitioner's goal to make this public road right of way, and I think their future goals are for improvements. And so in the course of this, I mean, it was the goal to determine the public interest in this process. So we also did a traffic count, which we've kind of touched on before. But if you scroll down to the next slide or next PDF, these were the results of the traffic count. And as you can see, McKinney and 4th Street really receive very similar traffic patterns, right around the mid 700s. 1st Street has a little bit larger volume, as we would expect. But the thing that stood out to us was if you notice the traffic counts on the south side of McKinney Avenue versus the traffic count on the north side on 1st Street, you're looking at 1430 on the north and probably around 1800 on the south. So it's pretty evident that there's quite a few folks taking that McKinney route as a way around probably the intersection down there near the high school. So that was just kind of a nice visual to aid in the determination of public interest. Did you get the PowerPoint? Okay. We'll see if we can pull open this quick PowerPoint presentation. It's just a real brief history of timeline on some of the events that have taken place.
Is it just the timeline?
Yeah, if you open, there's a PowerPoint inside the folder. There should be a folder that contains like 10 documents. I have a thumb drive too.
Yeah, well, it's on a thumb drive now, and I don't know
Okay.
if you look at it, it wasn't working.
Oh, it wasn't working properly?
Mm-mm.
Any timeline. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
So this is the,
Okay,
these
so
are
yeah.
the separate ones.
Yeah, so if you open that,
This one?
the actual PowerPoint looks like you've got.
Wait. See, because when I opened the PowerPoint down here, the only thing that showed up was this timeline.
Oh, okay. So then if you click
Technology is a wonderful thing.
over here and then do it.
Okay, wait a second. If I go down here. Oh, sorry. What do you think?
So what
It
happens
says
if you
slide one of one.
click on one of those? So go back into the folder again. And then try opening it one more time. Sometimes, yeah.
Just this one?
Yeah.
See, it's flashing.
Okay. So if you'll I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll just open the folder here, and as I go through each and every one of these, we'll just open these
Yeah,
in succession.
except for
Because I'm going to start by the earliest stage and we'll work my way down. So,
Okay, except for it's not showing up there, it's not showing up.
yeah.
It says we
So,
Dan just walked in, Melinda.
Hey, Dan.
usually you have a way to play it.
It says read only. Okay, what if I just stand there?
Which one do
Thing
I
up
just
there.
want to hoping to play that
And I
one
can't
single
get it-
slide PowerPoint and put
and
it
I
up on
can't
the
get
big
it to
screen.
go over there. I want it projected. See, it says
His timing was
it hasn't
impeccable.
been done, So I don't know if it means How can you make it bigger?
No, it's not displaying over there.
How about if you exit out of the agenda stuff that's behind it?
Matt, we may just have to have you describe this.
Yeah, that's okay. We'll just go through it real quickly. So without the visual aid, I'll just kind of go over the quick highlights. So in 1906, 1st Street was established, and that's on the west side of McKinney. It runs north-south along the west side of Section 14. In 1907, 4th Street was established, which is on the east side of McKinney, runs down the 16th line, north-south, and then runs east from its intersection with McKinney to its intersection with another county road. So that kind of gives you the background on where the county road right-of-ways came from in that area. In 1914, we have an atlas. There's it's kind of the tax map of its day that shows public rights-of-way and adjoining ownerships, and there is no right-of-way shown for McKinney Avenue at that time. In 1923, we had a county road vacation for the portion of 4th Street that ran east-west. And so virtually what that did was it created a dead-end situation on 4th Street where it's current dead end now on the east side of McKinney Street. In 1932, we had another Atlas update tax map that also does not show McKinney whatsoever as public right-of-way. In 1940, we have a Hartman Abstract Title Company map that was a title company here in Pendleton. Likewise, it does not show a public right-of-way for McKinney. It wasn't until we get to 1952 we found an aerial photo on the USGS site that clearly shows McKinney as a dirt gravel access road. So it was clearly present at that time. So it's been around for some time. So that was good to find. And we have this gap between 52, that aerial photo in 52 to 1990, which was the first partition plat done, that we really have no information whatsoever. There were deeds constructed in that time frame. Like I said, some reference a road, but there's no actual document given. And the remainder were the partition plats. In 1990, there was a plat that dedicated 30 feet on the south side of the road, which is legal public road. This is parcels owned by Vaux, formerly Frederickson and Melville. So there's a legal 30-foot strip on the south side of the road adjoining those parcels. In 94, there was another plat done. It assumed an existing 40-foot public road and dedicated an additional 10 feet on the south side of that 20 feet. So you end up with this 10-foot legal strip with this assumed 20-foot strip, as you saw in the previous exhibit, and that parcel is owned by Watkins. In 98, there was a partition plat on the north side of the road that dedicated 25 feet on the north side of the road, and that's parcels owned by Brandt, Gardner, and Evans. And that's just kind of an outline of the legal right-of-way that exists and those associated parcel owners. And that kind of goes hand in hand with that aerial photo with the color-coded rights-of-way. And so just kind of a quick outline and timeline of the events that took place surrounding that road and where it's at now for your consideration and public interest. And really, that's all I have other than that. So,
Any questions by commissioners? Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
We'll now ask for, sir.
Can I interrupt and address the group of citizens on behalf of the Judge Llewellyn upstairs? Judge Llewellyn is in a trial, and he has ordered us to recruit 6 jurors for that trial because there's a shortage.
Dwight, why don't you tell people who you are? Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. I'm not in uniform.
Yeah.
I'm Sergeant Johnson with the Court Security Unit here. I got kind of called at the last minute. Anyway, Judge Llewellyn has ordered us, Court Security, to locate 6 jurors, which she is authorized to do by statute. And there was a shortage today in the trial. I did talk to the judge and said we were in a public meeting today and would appreciate if we could conclude this public meeting, but if 6 of you would volunteer for that, that would be marvelous. If not, we are just authorized to select people at random. So it'd be nicer if some of you that might have a little free time. He does not think this is going to be a lengthy trial. It should be concluded today, is what he thinks. So anyway, that's where we're at. Do I have 6 individuals that would be willing to do that for serve a very important function for our criminal justice system today? Any volunteers at all? One volunteer. You can see us at the conclusion of the meeting here. Nobody else? Or we're just going to end up picking people at random, and we'll need to report upstairs. We'll wait for the conclusion.
Were we able to find anyone in any of the departments that would be willing to serve?
The nature of the trial, Ms. Gelfring, it would be better to have random citizens.
Yep, agreed.
Okay.
Thank you for volunteering, and I'm sorry to be aware of it.
Okay. So moving on with our hearing, we'll ask for anyone who wishes to speak in favor of this petition. Remember to give your name, your address.
Steve Watkins, 290 East McKinney, and we have a number of the stakeholders here, property owners along McKinney, sitting in the audience, and I am going to be serving as a spokesperson for them today. We got to spend quite a bit of time with Matt yesterday. He's done an excellent job, so I don't want to reiterate what he's already said. The couple of things that I would like to speak to is the importance of McKinney as a supporting arterial to 1st Street and 4th Street. It's the way the traffic gets to 700 cars a day on McKinney is the fact that in the city of Hermiston, 4th Street is on your TSP plan a major arterial, considered a major arterial, or 1st Street.
Now that we're not hearing you.
Oh.
I don't know if it's recording. Turn that up a little bit. Now try it.
1st Street is considered a major arterial on a TSP. 4th Street, I asked, but I don't think we came up with a categorization of what 4th Street actually is. But it was developed and like 1st Street, on 4th Street, you can actually, at the urban growth boundary, northern end of Hermiston at Pumpkin Center, you can get onto 4th Street and traverse the entire length of town without having to use 395. You'll end up at McKinney. And without McKinney, you can't cross over to 1st Street. So, and on 1st Street, you can enter, again, bypassing 395, go all the way down behind Home Depot, hit Gear Road, and come up to Pumpkin Center again, the northern boundary of Hermiston, and cut back over. Again, bypassing and flowing traffic around. So what we see McKinney acting as, and how we get to the 700 plus cars a day, is it is draining traffic from the entire east side of Hermiston as far up as the residents and around Theater Lane, onto 1st Street, straight down, onto 4th Street, straight down to McKinney and up and out to Feedville, to all the built businesses and industries that's along Feedville, mainly the engine house at the railroad, Walmart, DC, and so on. One of the main users of McKinney is the railroad with their hotel down the street just behind Safeway. They run a shuttle of crews going to the trains every 20 minutes, 24/7. And it's worked out fine, I guess, for everybody until we got to the point where the road's been destroyed a couple of times. And it isn't the cities, it is the counties. You're the POA, the power of authority over this road. And through this petition, and what we were requesting, of course, is to make it a public road. Our intent is to move it on to a full-fledged county road where repairs can be done to it. And the property owners, what we're looking at is not, we're not interested in annexing into the city of Hermiston. We're perfectly comfortable being in Umatilla County for a lot of different reasons. We have a 40-foot right-of-way. We have 30 feet of asphalt that got asphalted in there, like Matt was explaining, somewhere between 52 and the 90s. It fits the asphalt under examination, the thickness of the asphalt, the sub-material, compaction material below the asphalt, the width of the asphalt fits in the TSP as an S2 county road to serve 4 plats or more, which makes sense probably in that time frame when it was paved. There's no record of it being paved. So, but the facts are there, the way the road is constructed, it was probably paved by the county at some time. It just doesn't have a record of it. Our best interest is to get it to a county road status so it can be repaired and then maintained by the county. That's what I think its highest and best purpose is. It can continue to flow traffic if that's done. And I think actually right now is probably the opportune time to do that because of the detour that's happening there. That 1,500 cars a day that was on the map that's going down 1st Street is now coming across that little 700 feet of McKinney Avenue. And it's just tearing it up. And why I mention that is because really the city of Hermiston needs to be brought in with what's going to be done about the repairs to our street. And I think now is the time to probably do that. The homeowners are a cohesive core now that have been together for a little over a year. We're willing to participate in conversations and with the city of Hermiston if that's necessary. and to assist the county further in getting this road legalized to a public road, moved to a county road, and then repaired and maintained by the county. So that's pretty much all I have to say. Any questions?
Questions?
No, I don't have any questions.
No, I've traveled the road.
No, got potholes.
I went to
Yes,
look
have
at it. Well, I think we went to look at it to see
Yeah.
what the issue was, and it isn't a local road. It's clearly an arterial, I don't know the official term, but
Yeah.
a through road.
It's a through road. I don't know the official term either, but that's how you were flowing traffic. If it was something other than that, we'd be down with the homes that are there, the size of our plots, maybe 100 on the trip count, not 700. We're clearly past that.
Right. I'm guilty. I've cut across from First to Fourth. On numerous occasions, it's a good way through.
Yeah, it is, and people have learned that. And people are creatures of habit. So once routines are established, and especially now the detour, I'm sure people are going to get in a routine of coming across there. The other thing that I did forget to mention, that something that exasperates the traffic on McKinney is the intersection of the high school. Another talking point that needs to happen with the city of Hermiston. That intersection, you can go down the hill on First and get stuck there, and I can go the other way out of my house and down Fourth and be up to Pumpkin Center and out North 395 by the time you might clear that one intersection during the school year. When the school's in session, they have 3 lunch hours, so virtually almost all day long, there's pedestrian traffic that clogs going there, and everybody knows it. And that pumps that figure up with the traffic on our road. And rightfully so. I mean, I don't want to deal with it. It's risky and it's time consuming. The kids walk across with no regard whatsoever to the vehicular traffic that's out there that needs to go. And it's just safer to go around off to Fourth and out of town.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there anyone else who wishes to speak in favor? In favor? Then yes. Please come forward.
My name is Craig Evans. I live on 289 East McKinney. And one of the reasons why I'm really in favor of it is the road is not safe right now. There's so many potholes. You said you've traveled it. I have a 12-year-old son, and there's other young kids down that road, and just people are going like this down the road. There's been fences taken out in the neighborhood because of this jockeying to go around all the potholes. My son doesn't feel, well, my wife and I and my son and my daughter, I have a 16-year-old daughter too, they don't really feel safe on that road because people are just, they're more concerned about dodging potholes than they are about looking what's going down the road and or who's walking the road. It's just not a safe road anymore to walk down, to ride a bike on, take your dog for a walk. And I think anyone that's traveled that road knows that to be true. And there's been, like I said, numerous people trying to dodge things that have ran into fences. And one of the neighbors has put big rocks out there so that his fence won't get destroyed. And that's what's going on in this neighborhood. And I just wanted to throw my 2 cents in. That's all I had.
Thank you. Any questions?
No.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else speaking in favor?
I appreciate the fact that you are the group spokesman. So is it safe to assume that there's many people in the crowd that you're speaking for? That's
helpful.
what I
Thank
wanted
you.
to see right there. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. If there are no one else wishing to speak in favor, I'll ask for those who wish to speak opposed. Those who wish to speak opposed. I see no one wishing to speak opposed. Are there any public agency comments? Seeing no public agency comments, and since there was no one speaking in opposition, there'd be no need for rebuttal. I will at this time close the public hearing. Commissioners, we shall decide. So is there either of you wishing to speak?
a comment that I think made earlier, because I actually went over there one day and was driving through there and sort of went to myself, oh, good God, what road is this? And so I went down to the intersection and saw that it was McKinney and went, aha, that's what everyone's talking about. Umatilla County has more roads than any other county in Oregon, and it has not been our practice to want to increase that inventory. However, without getting too flowery, I think one of the reasons that government exists is to resolve problems, not of the making of individual citizens, and I guess in some cases to resolve problems individual citizens can't resolve. This isn't something the residents of McKinney caused to happen, and I think therefore it's sort of incumbent on the county to step in and provide a sense of resolution. So I think that's where we are.
One of the things that I want to make sure, first of all, I want to reiterate how much I appreciate not hearing the same thing over and over again, having a group spokesman. That meant a lot to me. I just want to tell you that. And like Commissioner Murdoch was just saying, we do want to resolve the issue, and we do know that there is an issue. And one of the things we're working with to do is, can I share this now? Is that okay? The 2-inch overlay? Okay, it's out there now. We do want to put a 2-inch overlay on that road to address the potholes that I'm not sure where he went. We just spoke to about the potholes and the safety of the road, and we know what that's like. So our Public Works Department is going to do a 2-inch overlay, but right now is not the optimum time to do that kind of work for obvious reasons. So once the weather gets a little bit better, you will see our road department out there putting a 2-inch overlay on that. So we certainly understand where you're all coming from, and we, like Commissioner Murdoch said, that's one of the things as a county entity we want to do is we want to make things better for you. So.
And as I said earlier, I've driven the road. I've seen the potholes. They are significant. Probably not enough to lose a vehicle in yet, but
we don't want it to either.
And we've gone out and with your participation, I think we've made temporary repairs to fill the potholes from time to time to make it a little safer of a road. Last time I went across it wasn't bad, but with this increased traffic, those temporary patches aren't going to last very long. So
I think in part I am relying on the wisdom and experience of our Public Works Director, who has suggested to us that A, the weather isn't ideal for doing anything, and B, it probably would be wiser to make a significant repair to the road unfortunately after the detour goes away, which is going to exacerbate the problem for a while, but the city has told us it's only going to be for a certain amount of time, and then it would make sense after that happens to make the repair, which they couldn't make today anyway. But I do know that our Public Works Director has shared with us a process that seemed to me to be somewhat innovative and would make quite a positive difference. Maybe you're the liaison to Public Works, Commissioner Schaefer. You might know more than I do. But
no, that's exactly how it was explained to me, and I think at the end of all this, I think you're going to be quite satisfied with the finished product. So,
further comments? Is there a motion?
I might point out, I don't know if there's a question, but the cost of that would be primarily borne by the county. The city indicated yesterday that they might have some interest in helping, but it's obviously going to be borne publicly so that you know that.
Right, absolutely. Well, Mr. Chair, I'd make a motion that we move to make McKinney Avenue a public road.
It's been moved to declare McKinney Avenue a public road. Is there a second?
Second.
Further discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. McKinney is a public road. Even though our meetings are very, very exciting, and we know that you would just love to stay here and participate in all the mundane issues that we go through, if you wish, if you wish to leave, this would be a good time to report to the deputy out at the...
I think they're ready for you.
So if you wish, you could go ahead and leave now.
Is that why you had us first?
That's a completely separate process from us. We didn't know that was happening.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
You bet.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming and support. That shows a lot. So.
You did get the road department to no through truck traffic on McKinney.
Oh, they put that on.
As well as that works.
Yeah. There was a couple semis that first week that one hung up on the pole in front of my house, and it was just going to be
Pretty
miserable.
tight turn.
Sometimes they learn hard.
Thanks again.
Okay, moving ahead with our agenda. The next item on the agenda is a presentation of Umatilla Basin Watershed Council.
Morning, Commissioners. Mr. Olson.
Good morning.
And he promised me this would be really, really short.
I got to go play in the snow. I don't know if y'all saw it out there, but you didn't get it in Athena, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so today I didn't want to take up too much time here. Sorry. Michael Ward from the Umatilla Basin Watershed Council. Thanks for the reminder. So yeah, I didn't want to take up too much of you guys' time this morning, so we're just coming in for our annual quick update and just keeping everybody in the loop here in the meetings about what's going on with the Watershed Council. So 2018 was a pretty big year for us. We didn't get our Athena Bridge in as we had hoped. We had some issues there right with timing, and we're confined.
Excuse me just a moment. Could somebody in the back close the back door? We're getting noise in the room. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, as y'all are aware, we're really confined to a short in-stream work window, just federal and state permits and for working in-stream. So the clock just ticked out on us. But nonetheless, we were able to, with partners, in-kind match and grants, we were able to bring in roughly $1 million last year and out of county grant funds. So, a statistic I always like to quote from an Oregon State University study is every $1 million that nonprofits bring in restoration activities up here contributes to roughly about 24 to 30 jobs. So we're always really proud to not be a burden on the community and bring in outside money and put folks to work. With that, our main goal, as you know, is to protect and enhance natural resources here in Umatilla County, which are crucial to a lot of folks' way of life. So moving forward, looking next year, we're hoping to, not hoping, I'm going to put it down, we're going to get that bridge in. There's no way around it. Otherwise, I got to start giving checks back. So we're going to get that bridge in starting September 1st, and we're looking forward to it. That's going to, it's going to really help enhance the main access point for Athena there, but most importantly, it's going to open up 14 miles of upstream steelhead habitat, which has been blocked for roughly about 80 to 90 years there. So it's going to be a big boost for anglers, hopefully, in coming years, and maybe open up some new opportunities for different kind of recreational tourism, maybe in that area and other streams as well. Looking forward, we do our statement of work for the state every 2 years, and that's coming up. We're looking at a lot of other public works projects to be able to come bring outside grant money in and fix culverts that are undersized or needing replaced. We're looking at a few other bridges, and so we want to continue to work with Tom and the Public Works Department on that. And so we appreciate all the support we've gotten over the years, of course, and I know Brian and Kyle and myself all it's crucial being a nonprofit and having the support of your community. We serve a big area, so it's always maximizing those resources is always key. So I'd like to thank y'all for your time, and any questions or input on anything.
Real quick, you said starting on that bridge in September?
September 1st.
Yeah, that's something I've worked with you on as the mayor of Athena when I used to be that. So we're looking forward to getting that replaced.
Yeah, we are too, and we hated not to get it done last year, but sometimes things get rushed and mistakes happen. So I think it's best that it got delayed. I think
Especially with the construction on Highway 11, I think
it did. Yeah.
Totality of events, I think that was the right call.
Absolutely. And some of the accidents, or the major accident that happened out there this last summer, it was real unfortunate. And I think for us trying to get bonded and everything, the risk continued to rise. So I think this summer will be the better timing. We can spend more time with the community and getting stakeholder engagement. So we're looking forward to getting that one done. It's been on the list for a really long time. It's on the statewide priority list as a major fish passage barrier, a complete barrier. There's not a lot of those still floating around. Luckily, folks have been fixing them for the last decade heavily. So this one's important.
September due to fish runs and so on?
Yeah, we get what's called an in-stream work window, and so we pretty much, simply put, when the water's low, that's when we get in and do our work. Turbidity can kind of be minimized the best as possible, and that's when the permit. So we're looking at being out there September 1st to Halloween, and then calling it quits and hoping to high five and roll out of there with a job well done. So.
Whether it's finished or not, Halloween's it. Huh?
At Halloween, we're just going trick or treating and we're getting out of there. No, we can work on the bridge portion after that date, but it's that in-stream work. So where that dam's been there, it's backed up sediment for nearly a century, and it's kind of configured the channel unnaturally and put a lot of pressure right there on some people's property and cause some flooding issues. So this is not just a fish passage project. This will help mitigate that flood overlay zone right there and help the city of Athena with any kind of potential floods there in the future. The ice dam that kind of builds up there and stuff and things like that, that won't be there anymore. We'll be rebuilding that natural channel, removing that sediment, and building in our world what's called a roofing channel, and then to be a more natural feature for aquatic species.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Go play in the snow.
Yeah, it's coming. Am I going to go to Athena to snow?
Next item on our agenda this morning is to approve STF grants. STF funds were received amounting to looks like almost $1 million of cash from this. And so who's going to be presenting? Please come forward with the report of the committee action.
Good morning, Commissioners. Mr. Olson. My name is Stacy Coons. I work for Eastern Oregon Business Source, and I'm the transit consultant working in the public-private partnership. So the Special Transportation Advisory Committee did meet on February 7th to approve allocations for STF and 5310 funds. The advisory committee allocated funds to applicants to provide services throughout Umatilla County to seniors and people with disabilities. New this year, the advisory committee had all the applicants complete a criteria questions, and this was an effort to learn more about the services that are being provided in Umatilla County for the advisory committee. The criteria questions were a great start to the process of allocations, but there's been an indication from the advisory committee to continue working on those criteria questions and possibly come up with a priority list of objectivity. One of the Umatilla County projects is a multi-county transit services, which will allow Umatilla County to contract with Grant County Transportation District to provide transportation services from the southern end of Umatilla County to the northern end. It gives riders an opportunity to come to Pendleton, for medical services, shopping, and also to hopefully hit Main Street. And then also they can connect with all the transit services that we have, such as in Pendleton, Milton Free Water, Walla Walla, because that actual route from Grant County goes all the way to Walla Walla, Washington. So they can come into town, they can connect with other transit services. So it's a great opportunity to get those individuals up here to our area. I applied for a statewide Transportation Improvement Fund intercommunity grant to help with that project, with a match from STF. This project also includes a public awareness and education piece for all residents of Umatilla County, and to get out there and support public transportation. I'm excited to be working with STF and STIF advisory committees as we expand and improve public transportation in Umatilla County, not only for our senior and people with disabilities, but also for our current workforce. So, is there any questions?
I missed something. Is that I'm very interested in that southern connection with Grant County. I think it makes all the sense in the world. Is that proposed for the future, or is that here somewhere?
They're currently every Tuesdays coming up from Grant County and coming all the way up to Walla Walla to the Veterans Clinic.
I remember where it's primarily veterans driven, but
Yeah, but this will be a fare free for anybody that would like to take the bus and come up to
That's the
Pendleton.
funding that's in this list of funding under Umatilla County for $3,300. Is that correct?
That's the match. We had on the intercommunity STIF, we had to do a match of 10% because of being a rural population.
But with the Grant County piece of this, the funding is where here?
The STIF is a different.
STIF, okay.
Yeah, it's a
Gotcha.
competitive grant.
Gotcha.
The STIF funding.
Whole different place.
Yeah, when they came out with STIF, there was the 90% of the dollars, payroll tax dollars that was allocated in November, and then they came up with 2 competitive grant programs through ODOT. So I applied for one of those.
Today we're approving STF
Yes.
and the
310, yeah,
5310 funding.
yes. But I just wanted to tell you what that Umatilla County
Yep, thank you.
project was.
okay, the scope of this is new, and it's something we're going into the future, and it's a brand new committee, and I suspect you have members of that committee present today. Do you not?
Well, Linda's a public member of the
Right.
committee.
I'm just
STF.
curious if there's members of the committee here.
No, I don't think there is. I notified them that we would be going to the commissioner meeting, but I don't think
Okay.
But the
they.
let me make sure, because I thought I understood it one way and maybe it's a different way. The STF funding is determined separately from the STIF funding.
Yes.
Yes.
Correct.
So this was determined by the STF committee that met and made the determination of how to allocate the funding, a little over $1 million for projects that qualified for that or the 5310.
Yes, and STF is mainly seniors and people with disability.
Yep.
And it was 384,988 is actually what we allocated. It's actually a reduction from the last allocations in 17-19.
And the 5310 are solely in cities
Right, 2 cities applied, City of Milton Free Water and City of Pendleton.
for their particular transportation
Yes.
needs.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Fantastic.
And STF is open to not only cities, it is also open to providers that provide services.
Right.
STIF is a little different. That's just usually cities and kayak.
And the governor's indicated in her budget a 40% reduction.
Yes, correct. That came from ODOT, yes. And that'll be 10 million across the state. So we have indicated to these providers that if that happens, it will be a 40% reduction in their amount that they've been allocated.
I move to approve.
Second.
Seconded. Further discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good work on that. Thank you.
We have next a request to approve a new purchase of a copier for UCO Health.
Good morning, Joe Fumara, UCO Health, Public Health Director. What we're looking to do is we've got a 10-year-old copier in our Hermiston location that is a couple of years.
That's just taking time today.
Look into something a little more stable.
The copier we currently have in Hermiston is a little over 10 years old, and it's a couple of years out of out of date of being able to skip parts for it. And so the last time we had it serviced, they were almost unable to fix it. The company who does our maintenance was able to pull parts from another unit somewhere else that they found. They were able to get it going.
Got our money's worth out of that one, huh?
We seem to have, yes. And so what we're looking to do, our current copier in the Pendleton location is about 7 years old, but is still in pretty good condition. We've had a few issues with it, but nothing they haven't been able to fix. And so we're looking to purchase a new unit for the Pendleton location, which receives much more usage, and then we're going to shift the unit in Pendleton up to the Hermiston location, where we're hoping we can get additional years out of it, as it won't be put under the same amount of usage that we get out of the Pendleton location. And we had gotten a couple of quotes. I don't know if they got both quotes.
I believe so.
Okay. So Pacific Office Automation is who our current contracts are with for our copier units. They are a higher initial purchase price, but their maintenance for the per page is fairly lower. I think to the tune, based on our average usages, it would be about $30 a month lower than the Canon quote, which is a lower initial price, giving us credit for trade-in of the old unit.
And over time would justify the additional expense.
Yeah, I think we hit break even at about 2 to 3 years, and so assuming we can get 7 to 10 years life out of this unit, it makes sense to go forward with the lower overall quote. That was decisions I made in conjunction with Robert in Finance and talking with Doug.
Questions or discussion?
Make a motion, we approve the purchase.
Second.
Seconded to approve. Further discussion? Seeing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you very much.
Next item on our agenda is to approve an RFP for a pickup for the soil probe.
I don't see here anyone from Extension, but this is requesting the board just to go out for an RFP to replace the current vehicle that the soil probe is on. The current vehicle is not really operable, and so this is just seeking the ability to go out for a request for proposal. And if a replacement vehicle can be found or something, then it'll be back before the board for actual final approval for purchase.
Discussion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve. Discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is a request to payable to Titan Roofing in the amount of $85,850.
Good morning, Commissioners. Dan Lanai with Administrative Services, and I also have Mark Tanner, our Facilities Director.
Reinforcements now?
Just in case you have questions. Currently, the roofer pretty much is there. He's just checking a few places. We went up there and inspected it this morning. They had rain last night here, and he replaced the old roof drains that were on the roof from originally when the building was built, and they were actually leaking. It wasn't the roof in those areas, and that solved most of our leaking problems now. So we're up in the law library and Jackie's office back there, and the war room, the DA's office back there, and it seems to be looking good there. There was a little bit of an issue still in one spot in the law library, and we talked to him, and he says he's patching that. He's working on that right now. He's testing it and making sure. So we do still have a little minor leak there, but so far things are looking good. This here, though, is just to cover half the cost to help him pay his bills for all the roofing materials that he purchased. So in order so we can keep him finishing the job and getting it done without him not being able to bring somebody in and bring help and be able to buy like the extra drains that he had to put into the roof here just recently. So he's communicated back to his retailers that he's going to be making his payment soon, and so he's able to get the extra parts he needed. It's 50%, so we still are holding 50% back until we make sure we have a good rain and things are working.
Is today's moisture an indication of enough rain? How long are we going to wait?
Well, We like to do something soon because we know he has payroll to pay and everything, but usually we want some actual bouncing rain on the roof. And I think most of the snow was off the roof. So yesterday afternoon, that was a decent indication, but really need that pounding rain a little bit so water's bouncing around everywhere. The snow melt and bouncing rain are two different things because the snow melt's just kind of if there's holes anywhere on the surface, but if things are not sealed up correctly around the heating units, the gas packs up there, or other items, vent pipes and stuff, the bouncing rain is where those would come into play more. So we do want to check. I don't know if Mark has something to add on that.
So we haven't sealed the drains entirely. There's still a capability of draining water off the roof?
Yes. So what to do is the old drains, there's I don't know if I want to say a retrofit, but they actually make kits for old buildings like this where you stick a pipe down in there and it's a solid unit that goes in, expands, and seals up all the old, basically seals it and bypasses that portion of the old drain. So if the old drain's a 2-inch pipe, I'm not sure how big they're, 3-inch pipe, this probably cuts it down to like 2 3/4 or something. So it's not a significant, it's what they use in normal practices on buildings of this age. They do.
You're good with this? Okay.
Yeah, I called several of them in person, talked to them, so I was comfortable with it.
Okay.
Okay, further discussion?
Make a motion, we pay the 85,000, what, 80 or 830?
What do we have there? We have 85. Looks like
850.
850.
Oh, it's 5. I'm there now. Okay.
Been moved to approve a payment of $85,850, part payment to Titan Roofing. Is there a second?
Second?
Further discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Next item on our agenda is consideration of a payment process, a payment program on a previous sale.
Previously, the board had authorized a sale back to record owners of some tax foreclosed property. The request before the board now is to allow those people to make basically a down payment and then to pay the balance within 6 months. And it's just now that's the only request is to authorize a sale on contract. Otherwise, we would just require that payment be made in full.
And that's what we discussed. This proposal.
Yes.
So moved.
Second?
Moved and seconded to accept the arrangement. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We have a number of requests for positions or expansions of positions, which will be next on our agenda. The first one is to add a legal secretary to the district attorney's office.
Maybe we ought to expand this room so our staff can sit farther away from us.
Yes. We're going to start.
It's very small with the updates. Both of these monitors need to be expanded in size, and
I was giving our staff a bad time.
Well, they're getting, plus to answer that, Melinda, they're getting older and their eyes are getting weaker, so.
No, it's an updated system and it's not large.
So let's proceed with the first one is a request for a new legal secretary
Thank you, Robert.
position in accordance with ORS 132.250 to begin July 1st, 2019. Is anyone speaking in favor of that?
I don't see anyone here from the district attorney's office, but primarily this request is in response to a new mandate from the Chief Justice to record grand jury proceedings. The district attorney's office felt that the additional work required for the recording will necessitate a full new position, so the proposal is to add another legal secretary to the district attorney's office beginning July 1 of 2019, and that is also the first the law is implemented requiring the recording
I'm the liaison to DA, and I've been most involved with this, and am still optimistic we're going to get some funding support. But in lieu of that, at this point in time, I'd make the motion to approve the position.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the position. Any further discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next position is a reclassification position in the maintenance department. Part-time maintenance 2 to full-time.
Commissioners, Dan Lanai with Administrative Services. Just in the last few years, basically since Terry Rowan has been sheriff, we went from 100 and about 130 inmates at the jail to 210 on average, over 200. And this is just one facility in particular, though. That daily stress on the building and all those coming through, it just slams our maintenance department with trying to maintain that building and keeping it working. And along with that, we have all of our other facilities that we have to maintain and trying to keep them in good lasting working order, plus some of our agendas of expanding and changing offices and doing different things. My maintenance guys cannot keep up with the amount of work that needs to be done. We currently, in order to help with that, we moved this maintenance 2 position, it was a part-time position, to full-time for this year to help with the remodel and the project at the CDCP, I think, DD program up there. Sorry with the acronym, I'm trying to think of what it is in the juvenile department. To help with that, and that position's been also spending a lot of time helping us work at the jail, and that we do need this extra help. And I think as part of keeping our community safe and keeping that jail up and running, it is a very important position to help with us. What we do a lot of times is backfill and plus have another person going out there weekly to help Richard. So if Richard's not available too, we also have the experience to be able to fix things when he's gone out to jail. So
I think it further serves our purpose of wanting to be able to maintain our buildings in a way that doesn't cost a lot of money at one lump sum because we ignored maintenance and deferred it. So we're paying it forward, trying to keep it up so that it stays good.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve. Further discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
thank you, Commissioners.
Next request is to add one full-time patrol deputy to the sheriff's department. Sheriff was here, the deputy, or the undersheriff was. Must have stepped out. Maybe he's on
Rounding
jury
up
duty.
jurors. He's on jury duty.
He's dealing with jurors.
Okay. So this again is part of the sheriff's effort to continue to move forward with his patrol deputies toward an ultimate aim at some juncture of having 24/7 patrol service throughout the county. So this request has been presented to us to add one full-time patrol deputy.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Further discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next position is a reclassification of control counselor assistant to full-time counselor.
This could be more rigorous.
Sorry about the long walk there.
A joke, but I didn't want to be
You'd
inappropriate.
wake us up.
So there's a couple things going. Or Dale Primer, Director, Umatilla County Community Justice. There's 2 things on this request. One of which is a reclassification of a PO, probation counselor case aide into a probation counselor position. This allows more flexibility in the distribution of duties throughout the office. I'm not sure how much further clarification you want on that. The way we've done it in the past is we've had a case aide that's been assigned to work crew and a variety of other activities, and what we're trying to do now is spread those duties out. That would allow both the work crew function be done, but they also be able to do intakes and case planning and things like that. This comes along with the additional request over the years, as we've consolidated the department, we've had to broaden the duties of each individual. So that's the nexus behind the reclass.
Questions?
So moved.
Second?
Moved and seconded to approve. Further discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
The second issue is to add back or create a new probation counselor position. This is a position that would work in partnership with the ESD. The idea being is to target and to identify those kids that go through behavioral problems that cause expulsion, to not lose them through the system, to coordinate their needs and their services to get them re-engaged into school so that we don't lose so many of them through dropout and a lack of graduation. They will also be working with the various school districts in the district to do threat assessment and to work with the schools on creating a more systematic way on how they deal with those threat assessments.
Discussion?
So moved.
Second?
Moved and seconded to approve. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you.
Good day.
Have a safe drive.
We don't get to hear from Digna.
Next time. Next item on our agenda is the ratification of a collective bargaining agreement. County Council, are you?
I think the HR director is going to.
Oh, there we go.
Give her a minute. She's clear back in the back.
Clear back in the back so she could see.
Tried to volunteer for jury duty, but they didn't want us. Jennifer Blake, HR Director, here today to present the contract between Umatilla County and AFSCME Local 3742-4, which is known as the District Attorney's Bargaining Unit. So after some time, the county was able to negotiate agreement with the district attorneys and settle their new contract, which will be effective back to July 1st of 2018 and good through June 30 of 2021. So the DAs and their unit manager or unit representative have already signed and ratified the contract on their side, and so this is before you for your consideration.
Okay, discussion?
Bargaining team's good.
Yes, we think we've put together a good contract.
Since at least to get it on the table, I'll move that we ratify the contract, having been involved with them, various stages.
Move to approve.
Second.
And seconded. Discussion? Seeing none, I presume everyone's had an opportunity to review the contract and has no questions to ask regarding it. It's goes back 6 months back, a little further than that, isn't it?
It will be retroactive back to July 1st of 18.
Which is the date the old contract expired.
June 30, yes.
Yes. Okay. Seeing no discussion, those in favor of ratification of the collective bargaining agreement with the deputy DAs say aye.
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 Motion carries. Thank you.
I'd ask that the minutes reflect our appreciation to the bargaining team that
Always.
represented the county.
Always.
I believe that was Jennifer, Robert, and Doug. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Very much. Next item on the agenda is appointment to URIS Community Benefit Plan Committee, and the order is BCC 2019-011, appointing Commissioner Schaefer to the committee.
This is the position that is appointed by the board to represent the county, and it has historically been filled by a commissioner. And so the proposal is to have Commissioner Schaefer appointed to the board.
Is there a motion?
So move.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Next is appointment to the NEAC, Northeast Oregon Commission on Transportation, requesting adoption of order BCC 012, appointing Commissioner Schaefer to that commission.
And this is similar to the last appointment. This is to represent the county, primarily representative for the NEACT. The alternative will continue to be Public Works Director Tom Fellows.
I move the adopt order BCC 2019-0012.
Second. Discussion. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
I assume Mr. Fellows was stayed for the photo op, but I don't see a photographer.
I think he's staying to talk important business. That concludes our action items on the agenda. Is there a need for an executive session for any purpose?
No.
Then we'll move on. Commissioner reports. Any reports? Then we will stand adjourned. Thank you.